Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome again to my small space where I share with you the things about being a practicing Muslim, how mindful we can be in practicing our Islam. So today I'm going to share with you my personal story, my personal Swala story. It has its bits of humor, it has its bits of being a child, it has its bits of discovery and finding Allah. So this journey of mine, this Swala story of mine, starts with who my parents are. I was raised by two beautiful individuals. My mom, who is a very practicing Muslim woman, and my father, who is equally practicing, but he is more so the kind that is inquisitive about things outside of the deen. So he instilled in us the ability to be inquisitive in nature. So I had a blend of someone who is practicing and someone who is inquisitive. And when I merged that, I was able to develop an inquisitive nature in my Swala journey. I think I'm the fruit of what they say when you marry a religious or practicing wife, then it's a good foundation for who your kids are going to be, inshallah. I think I'll begin when I remember the most, I think, because I can't remember when I was a baby. But when I remember, what I remember is my father invested in someone coming home to teach us about Salah, to teach us, like any other Muslim household. There was the mualim who would come at home to teach. And this gentleman taught us the Salah and what we're expected to say when we are praying. So I had memorized everything. I knew what to say. Now, eventually, there was a gap whereby he would come in the holidays, then we would go back to school. And I think it reached a point where he wasn't coming anymore. But now we were left to do the Salah on our own. We're expected to pray. So it reached a point where I was not feeling it, but my sisters were continuing to pray. My two sisters at the time, because I'm the third, they were continuing to pray, and personally, I was not feeling it, so I stopped. I stopped praying, and people at home got concerned. They kept on asking, "What's wrong? Why aren't you praying?" And I vividly remember a cousin of mine was staying with us at home. And in this challenging time when I'm trying to figure out how to pray again, because I was also wondering, where am I finding a challenge in praying? In this challenging time, she comes up to me and she's like, "You know what? If you're not praying the 5, at least pray Fajr. It's just 2 rakas. It's just 2 units. You're not going to pray the rest, but at least if you're praying, just pray the 2 rakas." And that same mindset guided my journey through the Salah. The ability for someone to say it's actually doable, start with what is easy, eventually led me to engage with the Salah at even a better level. Eventually, I started praying again. But now the downside was I was praying with the actions. My sisters knew the words, I knew the actions, because I had forgotten what we were taught by the mualim. So now I'm upholding, externally I'm upholding the fact that I'm praying, and people are saying, "Hey, she's praying." But it's so funny. I remember one incident where there are these surahs we recite when we are praying. So we recite Nas, Falak, Ikhlas. So they're the ones I still had in memory, but I didn't have the Salah in memory. So what I would do is I would stand, recite one surah, bow, recite the other surah, and then go into sujood and recite another surah, which was totally wrong. So when someone would see me on the outside, they would say, because the surahs take you longer than what the average prayer would take you. So they would see me and be like, this girl, she's really into the Salah, she's deep there. And that was not the case. The fact is, I was not willing to admit that, yes, I have forgotten what to say, that I'm going to keep on saying what I have. and show you with the actions that I'm actually praying. So after this phase of saying these surahs, I started thinking I could actually have a book in front of me, down there near the mat, and then I read from there and say the things that are supposed to be said in the salah. But then the book also didn't work out because the words were very tiny, I couldn't see them. Then eventually I opened up to my sister who I follow. I think she's going to realize the impact she has had on me when she watches this. My sister who I follow, I opened up to her one day and I told her, this is so hard for me. I don't know how to do this. And then once again, just like my cousin said, my sister says, but it's easy, just do this, this and that. And just hearing the fact that it is easy, and then she pinpoints out how easy it can be for me, I came back again to figuring out what I'm supposed to say in Salah. Now, when someone looks at the fact that I had a time when I stopped praying, they could think that it was a block or a negative aspect. But for me, when I look back, I appreciate the qadar of Allah, because now I was inquiring from people so that I can improve my Salah journey. And when I figured out what to say in the Salah, I was now able to inquire more about the meanings of what I'm saying in the Salah. For the meanings of what I'm saying in the Salah, this comes up when I'm in high school. When I'm in high school, with my inquisitive nature, now I want to know, what am I exactly saying in the Salah? I know everyone else might not mind this, but I cannot be here saying things when I don't know their meaning. So now I started with the surahs. I got the shortest surahs at the back of the Quran. And I remember vividly, I would go into the masjid in high school. I read just one line, and then I go, and that would be the verse to memorize for the day, until I was able to gather a few surahs that I'll be able to understand when I'm reciting in the prayer. Then eventually, when we were in high school, we had groups of Quran. We were taught in the masjid, and we had these groups where there was, I would call it the baby class, and then the middle class, and then the advanced. The advanced one had most of the Arabs, because for them their culture is to learn the Quran. And then for us, we were in the baby class with this sheikh. I remember vividly being in this class. Allah has His plans, but I had outgrown the class and I knew everything that was being taught. But there was no sign of us being moved to a new stage. I think they had their own project and they didn't have an idea of how to move on. So I was in this class, but I had outgrown it to the extent that I would tap what was being taught in the other groups and learn. I had learned a whole surah from another group by just listening, because I was zoned out of this group. But the beauty in staying in this group is it exposed me to this gentleman who had the books he had written about the Salah and its interpretation, something I had been searching for a while. So he comes in class one day and he has this book that is so simple in nature, but seeing it made me feel like I had found something I had been looking for, like gold or water in a desert. I am so excited. And in my understanding, things connected to religion are for free. So as I'm interacting with this sheikh, he's showing us the books he has, and then I see the one for Salah, and I get it. And then he's like, that one is for 5,000. And then I look back at how much I had by then, and I had 10,000 shillings left before my parents could send some more money. And it had some couple of bricks, samosas, logs. If you were in Sunsas, you would understand. So 10K. And then I look at this 10K and I look at this book and I painfully invest in a book, because by that time this 10K was of value. Painfully invest in a book that changed the course of my Salah journey and experience. I invest in this book and then I start studying one by one what the translation is in what I'm saying in the Salah. The parts where it says Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, I would find what they translate to. And eventually I start going into the Salah with the Arabic version and the English version. I would say the Arabic and then I would say the English in my Salah. So most of my Salahs were actually really slow. People I think thought I had this level of Iman, but I was just trying to find my grounding in the Salah to be able to concentrate, to be able to understand the meaning. So I start with saying the Arabic and then saying the English. Another interesting memory I remembered is how I learned the Al-Fatiha. I wanted to learn what the Al-Fatiha stands for. The Al-Fatiha is the essence of the Salah, the main part or the gist of the prayer. The Al-Fatiha is the one part of the Salah that has a recorded response of Allah. So I remember this one scenario vividly when I think I was so excited and intrigued with being able to translate what you're saying in the Salah, and so I want to translate the Al-Fatiha. So I have this conversation with my dad and I ask him, Daddy, do you know the translation of Al-Fatiha? And then he says, of course, I know it because we used to recite it at assembly when we were in Chibuli. And then I said, okay, so if this person knows it, then what am I doing? Then I think I'm learning things people already know. So I rushed again with excitement, with happiness to study the Al-Fatiha, and then I learned it. And then now, as I'm entering the Salah, I'm entering with two languages. I'm entering with the Arabic to recite, and then pondering on the meaning in English. Then after some point in time, I said, but I need to find the meaning in the Arabic. I cannot have two languages in my Salah. So I had to understand the Arabic and merge it so that when I'm speaking from the heart with my Arabic. I'm not speaking the Arabic that has no sense of connection to me and then adding the English that I'm connected to. So I had to relate with the words in Arabic. So I studied them individually and then eventually found the sense of connection with the Arabic from start to finish. I think that's when I felt like I have succeeded in the Salah. But the interesting thing about the Salah journey or the journey as a Muslim is you think you've made it, but then you've unlocked a new milestone you have to hit. So I reached that point and now I know what I'm saying, everything is flowing. And then I noticed that I can actually say things that are not connected to me, to my heart, to what I'm experiencing internally. And that's when I realized I had to find how to improve my khushu in Salah or my grounding or concentration in the Salah. And I think it took me from being 10 to being at campus to be able to reach this level, to be able to now start seeing how I can maneuver and find this concentration and khushu in Salah and humility and God consciousness. It didn't take an overnight experience. So I look back and I appreciate the journey. I appreciate the hurdles. I appreciate the milestones that made me excited for a new one. I appreciate the people that stood with me and reminded me unknowingly that I had to pursue this interest of mine. Currently, I'm at that level of trying to find how to increase my khushu in Salah. And yeah, I think that's the gist or the story of my Salah journey, where it was and now where we are. I can assure you, it may feel like you've made it and then Allah shows you that you are not yet there. It's a humbling experience, the journey towards Allah in every aspect, whether through zakah, through the Salah, through Hajj, is really humbling. It's humbling in a way that it increases your honor as a slave, and it also reduces your ability to feel like you've made it among among those in the dunya. So that is my Salah story. I hope it has an impact on your current journey and where you're headed. I hope it has an impact on those around you and how you're going to move on from now on. Thank you for watching. Barakallahu fikum. I hope to see you soon. Have a nice day.